Have you ever dawned an old memory from when you were a child or forgot what you walked into a room for? Um, but why exactly do we remember things and how do we forget things? Memory is a very interesting subject, and here we will discuss how the brain remembers things and why it forgets things. According to Time magazine author George Johnson, memories, or engrams as they're known in the medical field, are stored inside the brain's hippocampus. The hippocampus is used as a temporary storing place for memories until they are transferred to their permanent home in the cerebral cortex, or better known as the center of intelligence and perception. Johnson also states that in the hippocampus, the information creates a neurological scribble or a collection of connected cells. There are billions of neurons in the brain, and they can be rearranged into endless combinations, creating enough clusters to record memories of the richest life. Lastly, Anish Rampura from BrainConnections.com states that the brain uses the five senses to create a relationship. The relationship is the memory of the event. We have three types of memory: immediate, working, and long-term. Each type of memory relates to a particular function in the brain. Rampura's article, How We Remember and Why We Forget, explains to us how these memories work. Immediate memory is usually short-lived. The brain uses immediate memory as a collecting bin. They're held in various regions of the brain. An example of immediate memory is when you're watching a movie and your brain jumps from point to point, and then your brain puts it all together to make a smooth panorama. Working memory is used to hold familiar memories like facts, observations, and the stories of your life. For example, you use working memory to recall the steps in a recipe. Long-term memory, like working memory, stores observations, facts, and the stories of your life. Rampura specifically states that long-term memory can last anywhere from 1 hour to many, many years. Riding a bike would be an example of long-term memory. Just like memories, the brain decides when to forget things. Both memories and the things that we forget are stored inside the brain's hippocampus. Natalie Frederick and Laura Shanahan, both writers from Ask.com, state that when you forget something, the connections between the cells that make up memory get weak and eventually fade or disappear. The brain uses the emotions to help you remember things. Frederick and Shanahan wrote that the brain wants you to remember happy and enjoyable things and wants you to forget bad or sad things. The brain tends to strengthen memories that are happy and transfer your brain to an alternative memory when you start to think of something sad. There are several different theories that explain why we forget things, and the first theory is the decay theory. According to Kendra Cherry, the writer of the article Why Do We Forget Things, states that when a memory trace is created every time a new theory is formed. And the decay theory suggests that over time the memory trace begins to fade and eventually disappear. Another theory is the interference theory. Cherry states that when information is too similar to other information previously learned, the older memory takes over and replaces the new memory. Retroactive interference is when newly found information interferes with the ability to remember previously learned information. Lastly, the third theory is simply the brain's failure to forget information. Kendra Cherry wrote about an experiment conducted. A panel of contestants were selected to look at a set of pictures of pennies, and were told to pick the right penny. And as expected, nobody knew which penny was the correct one. This is due to the fact that people don't have a need to know what the US penny looks like, therefore the brain forgets it. It's still crazy and amazing how the brain can remember so much information. Now that you know exactly where memories occur and you know exactly how we forget things, you will have a better understanding of how exactly memory loss and memories work. So maybe the next time that you walk into the kitchen, forget what you walked in there for, or recall a memory from your friends 5 years ago, you will think of the different ways memory and memory loss work.